to do today's assignment, we will need some white paper, some colored paper. I have chosen black. We will need some warm colors. I have some crayons here of my yellow, red, and orange, which are my main warm colors. I also have Crayola color sticks, which are these right here, which is basically like a crayon with no paper and no wood. And I've got my warm colored markers. So any and all of these things could be used. We could even use some colored pencils, whatever you have that are warm colors. So any reds, oranges, and yellows, and anything in between. We could even throw in some pink. If you have it, that would also be a warm color. We will also need a glue stick, a pair of scissors, and a pencil. We are going to start out with my pencil on our white paper, and we're going to be drawing a pumpkin today, nice and big. We need to make it big because we are going to put some patterns inside of our pumpkin. So I'm going to make sure my paper is turned landscape style, so the longer side of my paper is at the top. And I'm going to leave a little space up here for my stem, and I'm going to start in the center of the paper with a nice, tall, skinny oval shape with my pencil. And it might be helpful for you to draw it lightly. I'm going to draw just a little bit darker so that you can see it real good on the camera. So a long, skinny oval. That's okay if it's a little bit wobbly because we're drawing a pumpkin. Pumpkins are not perfectly curved or straight or anything like that. So to make the rest of our pumpkin shape, we're going to add on with a long, skinny C shape. So we're going to curve from the top and connect that curve to the bottom. So I'll show that again on the other side one more time. So I'm going to start on the side of my long, skinny oval, and I'm going to curve around, up and around. Once I get over here, I'm going to go straight down until I get to the bottom of my other curve here, and then I'm going to go down and attach it there. And I'm just going to do that a few more times. Big, skinny C shapes until you think your pumpkin's big enough. I'm going to add one more here. And I made that one a little skinnier, and that's going to make it look like my pumpkin is wrapping around. So if you can try and do that, that's okay. If not, just kind of do them however you can add them in there. And I'm going to make this space into my stem. My stem didn't have a lot of room, so it might be a little short, but I'm going to go ahead and make that whole area my stem. I actually don't like that, so I'm going to fix it just a little bit. I'm going to make my stem a little bit longer. Like I said, he didn't have a lot of room for the stem. Alright, so we've got our pumpkin drawn out. Once you have it drawn in pencil, and you can erase as many times as you need to, we are going to trace it with our marker. If you don't have any markers, you can just use a crayon color. So tracing the lines means that I am drawing my pencil lines with my red. I am just making the lines red now instead of pencil. And I'm going to go quickly so we don't waste time, but you guys take your time and follow along the lines of your drawing as carefully as you need to. And once we've got that done, I'm going to use a different marker color, maybe the same a little bit. So any of your warm marker colors to draw in some patterns. So in this shape, I could just do some curves. So we're creating random patterns today. So I'm just going to add some curves in here, and I want to make them nice and big because I want to color them in with my crayons. So in here, very simple pattern. So a random pattern is just a design that is repeating in a random way. So it's kind of consistent, but it's just randomly filling in the space. So I just repeated those curves. And in this one, how about I do some zigzaggy crisscrossed lines, some lines that will create some shapes in there for me to color in. On this one I'll do some curvy stripes. So each one could be a little bit different, but keep it simple. I'm going to make a pattern with my colors too and do red, orange over here, and this way. How about I do some stripes going this way? Like I said, these patterns can be very simple, just a repeated design of any kind. And I'll go back to my red here on this one, do some little circles. And my orange over here, do some more curves on this one. So whenever you're doing your patterns, just keep them really neat. We don't want them to get too crazy in there because we want to be able to color it in. I'm just going to do some stripes in this one. Alright, very simple. So I'm done with my marker now. We want to use those for the outlines mostly because we've only got 3 colors. That's a little bit boring if I do the whole thing in those same 3 warm colors. So I'm going to go to the things that have more variety now, my color sticks and my crayons. You probably have a lot of different warm colored crayons. So we're just going to go ahead and pick some of these and color this in. And to make sure that it is nice and neat, we want to go around the outside edge of the shape first and color it in solid. Try and fill that in as solid as you can. Don't want to just go over the lines on the top. We don't want to cover up our marker lines. We want to color inside of our shapes. You need to. You might only get part of this done on the first day, and you might have to break this video up and do it in 2 art classes. So get as much coloring done as you can in the first day, nice and carefully, solid and smooth in all of these little white spaces. Color in all the little white spaces as solid as possible. And then when you're done for that day, take a picture of whatever you have completed for the first day of the assignment and submit it to your first online assignment, the one that says Progress Upload. Finished coloring in your pumpkin, we're ready to use our scissors and our glue. Now our scissors need to be used very carefully, so here's how we do that. Our thumb goes in our smaller hole to our scissors, and the larger hole of your scissors can have as many fingers as you feel comfortable. I can fit 3 fingers into my scissors here. If you can fit 4, however as many is comfortable. If your scissors are the same on both sides where the holes are the same, then just pick a side, your fingers in, and it will work. We always want to cut away from ourselves. If I angle my scissors toward me, then I might cut myself or poke myself, and that's no good. So to open my scissors, I'm going to separate my hand like this. So maybe just practice a couple of times gently. Open and close slowly. We don't want to go too fast, or otherwise we're going to cut what we don't want to cut. So you can start anywhere on this paper. I'm just going to cut from the side here. So anywhere on the side. It could be over here. It could be here. any side of your paper. You have to cut through some of this white part until you get to your pumpkin. And when you get to your pumpkin, you're going to stop. So see how slowly I did that? I just closed my scissors until I hit my pumpkin. And once my scissors got to my pumpkin, I stopped. And so now I'm going to turn it. And I'm going to slowly close my scissors as I turn my paper like this. And then I'm going to open them back up when I want to start a new cut. So each of these little curves I'm going to cut as best as I can. If you are having trouble with your scissors, or you're not sure you can get it very closely to the pumpkin, you can cut a little farther out this way, and then you can go back later and try to trim very slowly those little bits off. And so you're just going to carefully open and close your scissors, moving the paper with your other hand like this. And it might take a little while to get used to it. You might want to practice on another sheet of paper before you do your pumpkin. I'm just very slowly tracing my lines of my pumpkin with my scissors. I'm just cutting little pieces of it off. I don't have to do it all at once. Now I'm going to continue on this way, slowly turning my scissors. Just do the best that you can. Try to go around the outside edge of your pumpkin only. We don't want to cut inside of the pumpkin. We want to trace along the outside edge of my pumpkin. So once I get my scissors all the way closed, I'm going to open them back up and scoot my paper all the way back into my scissors back here, and then I can close them again as I go along that line. And then I can turn my paper with my hand, open, close, and turn with the lines of my pumpkin. Do your best on that until you have it all the way out. You can throw away your extra bits of paper. You don't need it anymore. And then we're going to glue our pumpkin onto our colored background. So to do that, we're going to take our glue stick and pull off the lid. Once we have it, you might need to turn it maybe one time to get it up, no more than one time. You don't need a lot of glue to come out of the top. And flip your pumpkin to the back. We want to put the glue on the edges of the back of the pumpkin, so along these edges. We don't necessarily need it in the middle. It's good if we have it there, but it's important to have it on the outside edge of the pumpkin. That way it all stays down. So I'm going to go back and forth over this, make sure there's a good amount of glue on my edges all the way around. And notice that I'm doing it on top of my colored paper, so just in case if I get it on the table, I don't get it on the table, it will go onto my paper a little bit. Okay, so I just went over that a couple of times. Make sure there's plenty of glue on those edges around the outside edge of the pumpkin. When we're done with our glue stick, we can put the lid back on. Just kind of snap that back on, and then you just flip your pumpkin over, and you can glue it down wherever you want on your paper there, and you can press down on those edges to make sure that it is fully glued down. Remember, this project should take you 2 class periods, so please take your time to color in all of your designs. If you start one pumpkin and you don't like it, or if you rushed your designs and you want to try again, that is okay with me. Please make sure that you take pictures of the process. So once you get done drawing the pumpkin and drawing the patterns, maybe take a picture before you start coloring in the patterns, or maybe halfway through coloring, take a picture so I can see the progress So even if you're doing it all in one day and you finish it all in one day, I would still like a picture of the progress halfway through your work. Once you're done, you can add some more decorations out here if you want to. If it will show up depending on the color that you've chosen, that's up to you. But keep it neat and simple. Have fun!